one person that goes to parties that...
And you're the one person that talks when somebody pushes record.
Oh, sorry, didn't know you had.
Okay, so etheric cords. They bond and connect us together. People or situations in your lives. A lot of people say it's just connections to people, but you can definitely be corded to a situation that you are just attached to, toxic or no. They're most often seen as silvery, but can often be gray or dull looking, depending on the type of cord or attachment you have. Some more on that in a sec. But etheric cords manifest through familiarity. Like that cashier you always joke with, or that old lady always in her yard when you go by. You know, passion, fear, love, hate, that kind of thing. So cords can be created through both big and small things. The most common place you'll see your cord connections is the solar plexus. And that is because the chakra there is the place of your core self, your will and your drive. You'll see that chakra as a yellow light. So you can also be connected through your third eye. I've seen crown chakra. I guess it just depends on how, what your connection is, how deep or what it is. Usually from psychic or deep connections of the mind, like I said. They can also move as relationships change. You know, they can dull or brighten or move places in your body as your relationship redefines itself. So some people feel the cords as connection. Some see them, some can't. There's no real true correct way to identify them. It's just, you know, how you notice them. Most feelings towards others are usually transmitted through these cords. Etheric cords are how we can sense things about others and their true feelings and intentions towards us, no matter how hard or how well they think they hide it. So as I mentioned, they can be very strong even through your heartbeat and blood flow. They pulsate with it. Or be close to non-existent. I think empaths or just empathic people have a lot more cords attached to them than so-called norms. You just feel more. If you don't shield yourself properly, you connect more, you take things more personally, and you draw it into yourself. Not all cords are bad, though, obviously. So we need some connection, you know, to feel as if we can socialize and interact with others. Belonging in general, a big thing for our species, right? Some of these cords provide that need. They're greatly amplified during sex, love, any kind of intense feeling, right? And like I said, they transmit feelings. So this residue that you get from these good and bad feelings is really why you need to cut cords, or certain cords, right? So this will result in less feelings that you don't identify as you. That's not me. I don't do that. That's not how I act. So if you're doing that, maybe you might, you know, that might be one possibility of something that you might need to do. One of the factors in your life. Less being overwhelmed, obsessiveness, feeling drained and such. So not cutting cords can also cause health issues, especially if you're around a lot of people in your work, or face these things at home a lot. So if there seems like, you know, you don't have any time or much time at all to get away from these things or feelings or situations, it can be detrimental to your health. So cutting cords can help be a release of this energy. There are very few people or things that I actually choose to be connected to. I burn and cauterize that shit. I send it right all the way up to the connection, flamed, and I cauterize it on both ends. I don't want that. Especially if it's manipulative link. So we often feel a sick or sinking feeling, or maybe an ache in a pit of our stomach when, relationships end or people close to us die. These thick cords are affected, when these relationships are over, obviously. So these strong cords are being severed, so the pain, nausea, and such affects our physical being, not just our etheric being. But it makes it twice as worse, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So cutting the cord between yourself and a person or situation you are attached to brings things into focus. I really think this is true. Because if you're truly ready to cut this cord, of course. If you're not, it might help you a little, but if you really aren't truly ready to let go of a lot of your feelings for the person, or, even do the other necessary things we have to do in society today, like unfollow and block and, make them not a presence in our life. I thought someone was down there. That's Poppy Kitty. So, if you're ready to do that, it can make a lot of things clear for you and give you a new perspective. It allows you to see things you couldn't before, or maybe you had been blind to. Things you couldn't see or just didn't want to see. It allows that kind of thing to clear and let you notice some things. So just remember that you are in control. So, like, if you're thinking or obsessing about someone too much, or even just being unmotivated in certain areas, you could just have residue. Especially if you're unmotivated towards putting, like, distance between you and someone else. That's very telling. If you wouldn't put up with that shit from a bunch of other people, but you're really unmotivated to do something about it with someone else, there might be a reason for that. So, if you can't seem to get away from it, or you keep crossing paths, if you can't break free of, like, manipulation or their presence at all, these people keep coming up. So cutting cords is a proactive and powerful act that can help free you from this. It's in no way passive at all. It's about reclaiming yourself and your energy and time. Because these people are time wasters. These people you need to cut the cord from. So like I said before, you have to truly be ready to let go, or you'll just help reconnect this thread. Because your connection will still be there. If you still care about what they do or say or think, you're going to help reform that thread. It won't be, like a long-term fix for you. So even sometimes if you think you've moved on, and I've seen this a lot, I've helped people cut cords. Almost all the cords I've helped people cut have to do with failed relationships. Toxicity, resentment, and other feelings like that, they remain and they circulate between the two people. It often gets confused or misinterpreted as like the love of your life when people are pining away, but really it's bonding through trauma and toxicity, and you mistranslate this through this connection because there's this bond and it won't go away. Well, that's probably why. So this can cause many other issues through the rest of your life as well. It can shatter your confidence, make you dependent, blame yourself or others. I see that all the time, blaming other people. Well, if they wouldn't have listened to what other people said, no. They try to rationalize it to where it's either your fault or it's everybody else's fault that you are now broken up with this terrible person. It also affects your ability to concentrate because you're obsessing on this crap. So, attachment keeps old pain active. These cords are also in alignment with your past challenges, which at least there's something you can think about here with that. It's not just chaos. These align, I think, or at least the toxic ones, align with past challenges. And it causes you to repeat patterns you should be releasing. Things you can recognize and grow from. We shadow work tells you this. Different things you do, to change or be better or to cut things out, do this. It's the same thing with this. So when you cut a cord, you are no longer engaged, with these patterns of negativity, is what I'm saying. Strong cords are connected through stronger relationships, like your family, spouse, pets, your best friends, past life connections, and etc. Sometimes you don't have to have a strong relationship, though, with the person to have like a strong cord. Because if you really intensely dislike or admire somebody you barely know, you could have, you know, you could have a pretty strong cord there. Weaker cords can be developed through someone you have a rapport with. Like I said earlier, favorite customers, a friend's friend, that guy you jog past every day. So these often dissolve on their own fairly easy, but they can be there. Thicker appearing cords are for strong bonds, like love or hate, a parent's favorite child, a familiar. You know, lovers have very thick cords, especially familiar lovers. Sometimes they also have what I call branches or web-like connections, because you're connected in so many areas of your life. Sometimes I think just one cord maybe just doesn't do, you know, I don't know, but I've seen it. Thinner thread-like cords are usually tying acquaintances together. A marriage that was, you know, had very little connection to it, but like no hate or resentment. It just was, you know, just wasn't there. Friends with benefits, loveless familial bonds with your family, bonds of servitude and obligation, that kind of thing for thinner cords. Bright, shining, thrumming cords, the beautiful silver ones that maintain themselves and are actually healthy to have. These cords are present through like your deepest life connections. True, timeless love, those who deeply and unconditionally love you and understand you, twin souls, soulmates, that kind of thing. So these are very strong and very thick cords. On the other end of this, we have muted or dull cords with no pulse. Black, swampy, sometimes green. These come from negative feelings, distrust. Enemies and frenemies have strong but dull cords. Overcompetitive people have a lot of strong but dull cords. So, like I said earlier, cords can change over time. So the most beautiful shining cord can turn very dull and thin after a while, if that's how the relationship takes its course. So love cords can turn toxic through emotional letdown, frustration, and loss or disappointment. Toxicity of stomach cords can result through power struggle, envy, jealousy, character attack, that kind of thing. They cause you to hold on to these things too, like resentment, negativity. It can cause paranoia, feelings of inadequacy and rage. So we should always cut these bonds, or it can result in detrimental consequences in your lives. Negativity attracts negativity and then sadly poisons your soul. You know, like attracts like, right? It's the law of attraction. So there's other things you can do to assist, like a burning. You know, write stuff down, burn it away. Or even a candle spell. Some people like to get, you know, more active. I myself think cord cuttings are very intense experiences and are enough, but some people like to go all the way. You know, it can be as simple as etching the person's name on a black or white candle and feeling the connection weakening as it just burns down. Maybe a simple mirror spell. You know, while you stare at yourself in the mirror, you can proclaim to yourself that you're no longer connected to this person or situation. You're free of it. It doesn't tie you up or cause you pain or anything like that. Just basically release yourself from it. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts there on that. And